I am here with our special guest today, Becky Devore, and I am so excited to have her on and you guys getting to experience Tulsa through her eyes. She has very special eyes. She gives Tulsa tours. She was highly involved in the Tulsa Press Club, executive director, and she has got some amazing stories that I cannot wait to unfold and share. So welcome, and I'm so glad to have you.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Now, you said you are a Tulsan through and through, like born and raised.
Went to Tulsa Public Schools, went to Nathan Hill High School. I even went to the University of Tulsa. I love Tulsa. Okay. Absolutely love Tulsa.
Now, so you have been in Tulsa like your entire life.
Right. So I left for briefly like 2 years, and I was just in Stillwater, so I wasn't too far away. Family was still here, so weekend trips back home, Christmases, Thanksgiving. But my time there was short-lived, and came right back home.
So what brought you to Stillwater? Was it
school? College?
Yes,
yeah, college. So OSU too. I'm a Poke, so
yes.
I'm a Golden Hurricane and a Poke.
Yes. We always had the Go Pokes. I'm OU.
Gotcha.
We have 2 kids that are at OSU, so our house is we pay OSU now. So
right.
We have
so the house divided. Yeah.
But we have to give them some love too. So OSU has become more dear to my heart now than before. So tell us a little bit about your time at the Tulsa Press Club.
Wow. So for about 6 years, I was at the Tulsa Press Club. It's an absolutely amazing organization, nonprofit here in town. My favorite part was getting to meet a lot of our civic leaders, and we did a lot of activism through that. We give awards to journalists every year. Tens of thousands of dollars in scholarships have been given out since I was there, and it was just a place for people to gather. And it wasn't just for journalists. That's how it all started back in 1906. I mean, this club has been around forever. The first Tulsa Daily World came out in 1905, so you can tell that this is a very old club. But it was really it was a place for journalists to gather. But throughout time and throughout the years, it's been a place for a lot of philanthropists and PR people and pretty much downtown enthusiasts, and anyone's welcome to be a member there. But it's rooted in journalism, and the mission is to build engaged communities through the pursuit of ethical journalism. So I was really happy to be involved. It was one of those things where I could stay up to date on everything that was going on in town, and then of course everything going on in the world. So it's a pretty incredible experience.
That is incredible, and I'm not even that familiar with it. Now, did it shut down, or is it still going?
So the organization is still thriving, but we just couldn't hold on to the location. Okay. Now there are hundreds of press clubs in the United States, and we were actually up until the club closure in September of last year, we were one of 3 remaining. So Atlanta was the one to close their location in 2021. And so it's a pretty big deal for us to be one of the last 3. But it's very difficult. Now, the other 2 are, of course, in Washington, D.C., the National Press Club. They're not shutting their doors. They own their building. and so does Denver, the Denver Press Club as well, which I'm actually going to visit in just a couple weeks. So I'm excited. They are honoring Ann Curry as their Damon Runyon Awards, and they've invited me to go.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. So your time there, you said it was very, a lot of downtown Tulsa. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Right. So many of our members were through the community. I mean, a lot of them were One Oak, Williams, BOK, a lot of anyone downtown. And it was a place for those people to gather and to kind of discuss, just like they would in the old days, to discuss current events. I mean, that's kind of what it was there for, is just a space to do that. And we had a little area, a lounge area, where you could come and have lunch. And a lot of times the mayors would be there or public officials would be there. And so, it was kind of a place to be seen and see people. So it was neat, kind of tucked away in the Atlas Life building.
That's exciting. So did that give you, so you do Tulsa tours now, did that give you a lot of your knowledge and experience?
So exactly. So my tour boss, Jeffrey, he and I met each other through the press club, and he was designing the tunnel tours, and our building is right there through the tunnels. And so he and I got together and said, wouldn't it be great to do this for some private tours and end at the press club, and they could experience some of the history and you could tell them about that as well. And I said, that's fantastic. So we did that quite a few times. And then this last December, he just said, hey, what are you doing? And you want to come do this with me? And I was like, what a perfect opportunity. I absolutely love talking about Tulsa. It'd be great to learn more about the history, learn more, especially about the big oil boom and why the buildings were built to begin with. And that's mainly what I do, which is, it's fantastic. I love going, and the tunnels for me at the press club, it was like a way to not get rained on or be cold. I'd shoot over to the bank through the tunnels just like they would in the 1940s and 50s, which is pretty neat.
Okay, that is so amazing. And I haven't done the tour with you, but I did it with the Tulsa Foundation of Architecture, the Tulsa Tunnel Tour, and it was amazing. Like, tell us a little bit about the tunnels. I mean, that is incredible.
Yeah. So the tour starts. Our tour starts at the Hyatt Regency, and so if you're unfamiliar with that, it's kind of close to the PAC, and we start right through there. And it seems like we're walking through a parking garage, but we're really walking underneath the Williams Green. And so we guide folks through the tunnels, and we pop up in each one of the lobbies, and then share a little bit about the history of the building, what style it was built in, who built it, who was in charge in the times, some interesting tidbits about who those folks were. And then there's one private tunnel, the Wade Phillips private tunnel, that we end on. And that's really the one that's spectacular, that you've got to have the private tours to go see, and that's pretty neat.
So when you're giving those tours, is there a certain time like you're allowed to do those, or as long as you get as long as you've booked it and given the notice?
Right. So with our tour company, because the building owners don't want people just roaming around and all of that, so every Friday we give tours for sure. We can book them at any time during the week, usually, if we have tour guides available, but definitely on Fridays. So if you're looking to do that, Fridays are a great day. We also give Art Deco tours, which are kind of similar, but it's more of an outside, and we go in through a couple other of the buildings as well. I'm actually starting those in a couple weeks, so I'm excited to expand my knowledge of many of the Tulsa buildings. But yeah, it's a fantastic tour. It lasts about an hour and a half, and it's so much fun. I have some really unique stories that I share, some kind of behind the scenes stories about Harry Sinclair and Wade Phillips that you can't hear unless you go on our tours.
Oh, so we can't even get a little sneak tidbit?
Maybe. I'll tell you this. It's kind of incredible to think the amount of money that was coming through our town at the time. And it said that Wade Phillips was depositing an average of $25,000 a day.
Oh my goodness.
So you can kind of understand then why they were importing marbles from Italy and, all of these kind of extravagant things and building these huge buildings at the time. So the money was definitely flowing, and how quickly Tulsa had grown. I mean, even in the population in 1907 was around 7,000 people, and by 1910, we're up to like 15,000 people. By 1920, we're up to 70,000 people. I mean, so it really is like, it was a big rush, a big kind of, black gold rush to get here. And with all of the oil money, then merchants and, that's how the town grew at the time. So it's a neat.
Well, and I don't know, I certainly don't know the history like the history, but just the fact of, how, like, I knew we had the huge Art Deco collection as far as buildings go, in our downtown, and the buildings are just magnificent. But just thinking about, we didn't have the normal migration. It was because of, the oil boom. So we got all this money, like right in, the Midwest.
Right. So really thinking about the culture of the 1920s, and you think about the flapper hairstyles, and you kind of think about the progression of America in that time. There was a lot of old traditions kind of being pushed aside and like these new traditions coming in. And in 1922 is when King Tut's tomb. So that was all the rage. So a lot of the Art Deco style comes from Egyptian influence. And so that's why you see a lot of the zigzag lines and the colors really are kind of attributed to that.
Okay, I had no clue. I love that. I'm definitely going on your tours.
You definitely have to do the Art Deco tour. So I'm studying up right now, which I had no idea I was going to be this novice historian as a kid. It's one of those that my dad's dragging me around to these museums, and I'm just like, come on. And of course, now it's like, I can't get enough of it. What book can I go buy next? Like who's especially locals, locals that have written about our history. That's been incredible to find. And so it's been interesting. A lot of former journalists or current journalists, they have books out about it. And so it's nice to actually, I know those people that wrote the book, so it's kind of incredible.
That's so cool. So like in your spare time when you're reading Tulsa history?
I'm reading a lot of Tulsa history. I can't get enough of it because I want my tours to be exceptional, and I want my guests to have the best experience, and I want to kind of shock you a little bit. I want to give these interesting stories that those are the ones you're going to remember. You may not remember that, the bank was built in a Beaux Art style, but you're probably going to remember the story I tell you about Harry Sinclair and how he got his money, those kinds of things.
Okay, well, I think we're all on pins and needles, so we're definitely going to go to hear that story.
Good.
And okay, so how does someone book with you guys?
Tulsa.tours. Just go online. You can see any of the open availability that we have. That's the easiest way to do it. And if you don't see, maybe you're looking for a more private tour or something at a different time, easily just to email us and we'll get right on it and see if we have a tour guide available, and we're happy to do it. Even just this last Monday, it was the eclipse, and I got a phone call at 9 a.m. saying, hey, I have this couple, they're in town for just today. Can you swing by and do an Art Deco and tunnel tour? And I was like, absolutely, I'm free. I'm not doing anything until the eclipse hits, So of course, I just ran downtown and spent some time with this lovely couple from Boston.
Oh, okay. So it can be as little as 2 people?
Sure.
And you can do both tours at the same time?
It kind of depends. We're there to customize a lot of times too. If you're looking for the straight tunnel tour every Friday, if you're looking for just Art Deco every Saturday. We also do brand new tours on Greenwood and Black Wall Street in conjunction with the Black Wall Street Chamber, which we're excited to pair with them because a lot of the proceeds are going directly to the chamber to build up that area in town. And we're also going to start doing the Arts District tours in about a month.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a lot of variety, but we get requests for like a Tulsa King tour or a tour of the Mayo, and we're happy to oblige. We just then reach out to the folks that we need to and coordinate things together. And so we're here to give you the best experience. So just let us know what you're looking for.
Okay. Awesome. So as far as notice goes, like what's the minimum amount?
If it's open,
okay,
then snag it. Yeah. And a lot of times we might have 1 or 2 spots left on Friday morning. So snag them up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Super.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm interested with all your knowledge of Tulsa and everything that, your experience and your history and all that like what are your favorite things about Tulsa?
My favorite things about Tulsa, the green space for sure. The drivability, the walkability, even though most people don't walk anywhere. But it's just the space in Tulsa. And I think mostly Tulsans are very friendly. If you ask anybody from out of town or folks that have just moved here, everybody is so kind in town. And I think that is that's what makes a huge impact is that, people feel like they're your friends after just meeting them shortly. So that's what I love about Tulsa.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of like how we met. We met at, the treehouse.
Right.
And,
we met at the treehouse.
Started a conversation.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's so easy to talk to people.
It really is. We hold doors open for each other and we smile at each other on the street. I mean, I can't walk downtown without running into somebody that you know. I mean, that's just the beauty of Tulsa is that it has kind of a bigger city feel sometimes, but it's really what we've coined it as smallsa. You're gonna run into somebody that in any day, right? Any day of the week. You could be out eating, you could be out walking, shopping, doing whatever, and you'll probably run into somebody.
That's so funny what you said about, everybody smiles. I was in Dallas a few weeks ago and I went into this parking lot and it was a mistake. I was trying to find where I was, and Dallas is just overwhelming and crazy anyway. And the security guard just came out and was not smiling. I was like, this is the weirdest thing. You didn't even tell me with a smile. I mean, in Tulsa, we might tell you to move, but we're going to be nice about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's a grump.
And that is the beauty of a thing. And there's a lot of times I can tell when people are from out of town or they might be visiting here. If you look a little lost, I'm going to stop and ask you if you need help. That's what Tulsans do.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see it and it's like, oh, well, let me help you get over there. Let me show you where you need to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the city is just so kind and so friendly.
It is. I love that. Okay, so so you gave us the pros. What are the cons? You had to pick any cons of the city.
Big cons. Road work. Although I know we need it, but it's not really our fault. It's the ground that we built our city on.
Yes.
Come on, but that can get a little frustrating and a little annoying because I like to tell people all the time, especially, if I have friends from bigger cities like Austin or Denver or something, their commutes are ridiculous, right? And I'm like, oh, it takes me like 15 minutes. It doesn't matter what side of Tulsa you're on. It takes you 15 minutes to get anywhere, you know? Although add in the construction and during rush hour pretty much. And then maybe we have a different story, but.
Which they would still take over their places any day.
Absolutely. It's 45 minutes to an hour and a half if you're going anywhere in Denver. So forget it.
Yeah. And just crazy drivers.
Yes. That's the other thing for sure. But I see Tulsa as, it's exciting having lived here my whole life because I've seen the resurgence of downtown. I mean, when I was in high school, downtown was really nothing.
Right.
My mom worked there, so I would come down to the Williams building every once in a while, but there was nothing there. And she also grew up here, so she remembers in the 50s, that's Main Street was a place where you went to go shopping. I mean, that's where she bought her clothes, and so to see it kind of the revitalization of the downtown area especially, and all of the restaurateurs, the local restaurants, it's such an amazing vibe in downtown now and all over too. It's not just in downtown, but in other pockets of Midtown and then out even in the suburbs. I think it's incredible to see the investments that are being put into our city now.
Yeah, and I travel a lot, and I always say, I would compare, like, Tulsa food is amazing and fantastic, and I would put it up against restaurants like East Coast and West Coast, and some people that aren't familiar with the Tulsa area just think I'm nuts, but we have such amazing restaurants.
Absolutely. The talent is definitely here. Yeah. And I think, it's so interesting is I think there's a lot of concepts that tried really hard a few years ago, even 10 years ago, that may not have worked out, but it's like now it would because now we're ready for it, know, and as we've progressed around town, and it is incredible. I mean, the majority of the restaurants that I like to eat at. I like to support local because I'm I'm a Tulsa girl. So those restaurants, just the incredible talent, the chefs and
what are
the
your
owners.
favorite restaurants?
Oh my gosh. I have one in particular that if you want to look for me, if you're looking for me, you can find me there at least once a week, and that's Prism Cafe.
Where's that at?
Prism Cafe is in the Heights District. It's kind of tucked a little bit behind OSU Tulsa, but it's a little farther to the west. Right on Latimer Street, there's Origins Coffees across the street. There's a new, and I forget the name of it, but there's a new event venue where they have a lot of bands and stuff, and it's like an old refurbished church that's right over there as well. But Prism Cafe is it. It's hyper local. They get everything that's in season. It's just fantastic. The brisket sandwich is to die for.
Really?
And they do amazing brunches, and the menu changes, and it's inventive, it's smart, and the gal that runs it, I mean, she's just amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Okay, give us a few more.
Okay. Anything Justin Thompson, also big fan. He's phenomenal. And then Three Sirens Group, have to shout out to Bird and Bottle. That's also at least twice to 3 times a month. You can find me there too. So.
Well, my girlfriends and I were just at Bramble for breakfast, for brunch, and it was crazy busy. We went at 10 o'clock, but because of the concert, the Tyler Childers concert, I think so many people were there that it was packed. But yeah, I know that I love Bramble and I love Bird and
the
Bottle.
Food is consistent. They hire great people. They retain their people. I mean, it's fantastic. Yeah. The food here is fantastic.
I agree with that.
And there's new places popping up, even McNally's Group. I mean, they've been around for, over 20 years now, and I think they just celebrated their 20th anniversary or something of McNally's. But all of the other ventures that have come from that, I think are incredible too. And to see our local restaurateurs flourish into multiple locations, into multiple, concepts is just incredible.
Yes, and you do have some history with the McNally's group, right? No?
Nope. I worked for House Smith Restaurant Group, which is based out of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
But I worked for Charleston's for about 10 years.
Okay.
And I've always been in the hospitality industry. I always say I get, the food service part of it is just the small side of it, but I get paid to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that you you exude that definitely. So I can definitely see that for sure. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. So we've been talking about Tulsa, but as far as suburbs go, what is your favorite suburb in the Tulsa metro?
So I lived in Jenks for a while, and I thoroughly loved living there. I think for me, Jenks it's got this little charm to it still that I think is amazing. It's the proximity to Highway 75 also pretty much gets you anywhere you want to go. And, it's just, I loved the vibe of Jenks. I really loved that area. And there were little trails in my neighborhood and, but I see a lot of other areas, even Broken Arrow has really blossomed. And I remember being really young and my parents talking about moving to Broken Arrow. I'm like, gosh, we should have done that when I was like 5. But yeah, I go over there to the yoga studio that's right on Main Street and for different things. And it's just such a neat place. It's a neat place to gather. I think any of the suburbs that can create this kind of community center to it, I think just kind of give off that really lovely vibe around it. And people enjoy gathering together in these spaces. That's why, the green space that we have, and I think that's really important to Tulsa and to the suburbs, is having a lot of green spaces, and Jenks and Broken Arrow both have tons of those in community areas.
And I think, or I know, the leadership, in Tulsa and in the surrounding suburbs are working together to make more of that, to make more walkable areas, to bring more people. And
and that's why I see Jenks also just being. I was there. I lived there for about 6 years, and that was about 6 years ago. So. It was it was quiet. It hadn't been quite as developed as it is now. But as we're putting more investment into the Arkansas River, I can see that just being a really great destination place. And of course, Main Street Jenks is just so cute with all of the antique shops and the little restaurants down there. But I really see that the resurgence that can come from the Riverwalk, especially when we start building more of the infrastructure into this beautiful river that we've had forever. And now it's that to me is one of the most exciting projects that we have going in Tulsa.
Okay, tell me what you know about that project. Do you know much about it?
Not a whole lot, but I do know that they're working on building these dams that are actually going to be able to hold the water. So it's going to be a usable and not quite much of an eyesore as it can be. When you drive over the bridges and you see the sandbars. But now we're going to see the river full. And I think that has opportunities to create more of destination spots on the riverbanks. And then, I don't remember what restaurant's going in, but there's that one structure that's been every restaurant imaginable, right? And it's kind of off the beaten path, but I think as more of investment goes into this, we're going to see more along the riverside and we're going to see more people gather. And to me, I look at, my parents and I used to vacation in Arkansas and Missouri, and that's the normal thing, right? Is that you gather close to the river. And I think that Tulsa's going to see that in the next few years.
I know. I'm so excited about that. And it's something that I always say, our river isn't the prettiest, every once in a while.
But it will be.
Yes.
It will be.
I'm so excited. And they're going to do, I think they're going to do the kayaks.
Yes, I had heard about the rafting and the kayaks and bring back the Great Raft Race. So I don't know if you've ever seen or been to the Great Raft Race.
I have not been. I've just heard.
So they tried to bring it back a few years ago. Oh, they did. And it was pretty neat, but it was still, I think, a little unsafe.
Yeah.
So I think they're combating those issues. And that could be just a really big festival. And I think one thing Tulsa can do and does very well are bringing these festivals together, whether they're cultural festivals or, event festivals. I think Tulsa does a very good job at doing those.
They do. I'm really excited for Tulsa Tough coming up.
Yes, that's right. Tulsa Tough is coming up.
Which that's not really a festival, but...
Well, I mean, it's a gathering,
yes.
right? It's an event. I actually sit on the 918 Day committee as well. So we've never had a festival for 918 Day, which is just a civic pride day. And currently, over the last few years, the only thing associated with that was doing a 918 Day scavenger hunt. And so you could do the scavenger hunt, take a bunch of pictures, post them on Facebook or social media of any kind, And that was all. You could get a T-shirt or some sort of memorabilia after that. Well, a group of us got together and said we should do more. Those of us that absolutely love Tulsa, we should do more. And so we formed a committee with the Downtown Tulsa Partnership, and they've really spearheaded a lot of this. And we're looking forward to presenting a nice, cute little festival. And it's going to be on 918 Day, which is a Wednesday this year. It's the first, so we're not trying to go too big, but it will be on the Chapman Green. We're going to close down a few streets, lots of live music. And we're really seeking out, we want to capture every Tulsan. So all cultures, and we're going to have a great place for kids and lots of food trucks, lots of vendors, and it coincides with their farmers market as well. So it's just going to be a really great evening to come out and celebrate living in our city and all the different cultures that come together.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about September.
Okay, September
18th.
Okay, September 18th. Yes, that'll be fantastic.
918 Day.
Okay. Oh, yes, duh. I love it. Okay, let's talk about a little bit, what would you, if someone was visiting Tulsa and just had a couple of days, like where would you say, like, the can't miss that you have to go to?
Gathering place number one. Gotta go. When I was giving the tour to those folks from Boston on Monday, they actually walked. They were staying at the Tulsa Club Hotel, and I was like, that makes sense. You're from Boston. They walked all the way to the gathering place. But that to me is a can't miss for sure. But other than that, I think coming downtown and seeing some of the Art Deco, especially even the churches. I mean, the gorgeous churches that we have downtown, and going to visit Brookside, going to Cherry Street. I think any of those places that you can park and then just spend some time walking around. Even at Mother Road Market, that's another great one. Anything in the Market District. And then here, of course, Studio Row.
Yeah. I know. It's so perfect. And you said, just a little bit ago, like when you were younger, downtown wasn't anything. And that's how, it was for me too. And I think a lot of people that are, locally from Tulsa that have lived in the suburbs and not really surround themselves, in the city, in downtown, don't realize how amazing it has got. I mean, it's just had, like you said, so much resurgence and development. But I remember downtown just being like, a scary place to go. And
it was. It's especially 16 and having a car. The only reason to go downtown was either to visit my mom or to go to the center of the universe, right? Like that was about it. But now, like with the Guthrie Green and the Arts District and Black Wall Street, I mean, there's just so much to do. And it's not only, the sights to see, the restaurants to eat at, and then shops too, which is just great. It gives everybody a little bit of something. So I think that's fantastic when we have visitors coming in for, concerts at the BOK. There's so many things to do while you're downtown that are walkable.
Yes. And, we have like the great local hotels and then the great, Airbnbs. There's some super cute Airbnbs like all around Tulsa that are great to stay in, where you get that experience.
Yes, there's a lot. I have a great friend of mine also has an Airbnb that's all Tulsa themed. And so that's kind of neat, when you're coming in from out of town, you get a little bit of the history and you don't have to go too far.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could wave a magic wand and nothing was a factor, like you could have anything you want, like where would you live in Tulsa? What area?
I would probably I want one of those, and I don't need a big house, but I want to live close to the river. So I it's easy to say Maple Ridge, right?
Yeah.
But Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want a big house there, because I don't want to clean a big house. But I think that it's the location is great. You can get anywhere you want to go. And I think just for me, it's being outside. I'm an outside girl. I love to garden. I love to go for walks. I love to do all that. So being close to the river, I think would be a really great thing. And being really like a step from downtown as well. So that's easy. And it's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful over there.
I love Maple Ridge. Everybody loves Maple
Sure.
Ridge.
But, I could also say there's other really great neighborhoods too in town. And, as I'm going to start looking for a house to buy a house again in, I don't know, a few months, I've been really looking around the 31st and Harvard area. I think that's been under development a lot.
Yes.
And it's really centrally located, right? So I think our highway system and our infrastructure is really set up for kind of anywhere in the Tulsa metro to live because, like I said, we've got our 15 to 20 minute commute to go across town, which is great.
Yeah. And one of the things that I love about Tulsa and even, the surrounding suburbs is like you just discover all these little pocket neighborhoods and they're so cute and charming and have their, just have their own little persona. Like they're just so cute. Like that everyone takes care of them.
Yes, that's what I absolutely love. I mean, I currently live a little farther out south and to the west, which I had never really lived west of the river except for in Jenks. But I live kind of close to Page Belcher, and my little pocket of a neighborhood is super small, but the houses are all different and they all have unique character to them, and kids are outside playing, and I mean that's what you get in Tulsa. It's friendly neighborhoods and not necessarily a lot of nosy neighbors, but friendly neighbors, and I think that's what attracts me to like these really cute neighborhoods is the walkability around your neighborhood, and that speaks to the friendliness of Tulsans. You're waving at people. I used to live over in Turner Park, which is over by TU. A cute little cottage house. It's absolutely adorable. All the homes in that area are so cute. And, as I'm walking around doing my daily walks throughout the neighborhood, I've met quite a few of my neighbors, and some you go over and chit chat about their gardens and your gardens, and all of a sudden you're trading zucchinis for tomatoes, and now you've got a new friend down the block. Yes. I mean, that's what Tulsa is. And you're right, there's these little pockets of neighborhoods just everywhere.
That's so funny. One of my girlfriends, who's also a real estate agent, she was telling me that one of her clients moved into, I think it was Swan Lake, and all the neighbors ended up knowing her name, and she's like, we have to move. Everybody knows me. Like she thought they were being nosy at first, but she was like, that's going to happen in any neighborhood that you go to. It is. Like, I think they moved from California or something, but it was just funny. Like, what's going on here?
And that is interesting. I have quite a few friends that have come through the Tulsa Remote program, and that's a lot of what they say. They're not quite used to the friendliness. So they're like, wait, what's going on? No, that's just us. Get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard somebody else talking, speaking of Tulsa Remote, I was listening to someone that did a podcast, and it was so good. I loved listening to it. And Tulsa Remote is a great program too.
Absolutely.
I love that. But she was saying, talking about a neighbor, and she thought she was getting ready to, have words or something. And he was just nice. And she was just like, he was really being nice, and it was just something that they talked about.
It's interesting. And that's why I think I feel kind of drawn to some of these folks that are coming in. And I got first access to these from the Press Club, right? So they're all, these new people are coming in, they're looking for things to do. They're trying to figure things out. Through the program, yes, they get a lot of help, and they have great, they expose them to wonderful things about Tulsa. But a lot of these people are seeking it out on their own. And that's really kind of what opened the door to me meeting a lot of these people. And I can't get enough of it because I'm like, great, what else can you share with me about your world? And like how Tulsa, what made you want to come here and those kinds of things. And like, let me introduce you to how great this city is.
Yeah, they're the best stories. And they also have, I think Tulsa Remote people also know some of the better hot spots that even locals don't know. They're like, they love a place, and I'm like, I've never heard of this place.
I'm telling you what, yes, they do. It's like they've got the in knowledge before a lot of us know. I think, we can tend to take for granted some of those things and maybe not keep up because we get in our routines,
Yes.
right? And, especially if you're out in the suburbs, you're probably going somewhere closer
Yes.
to you. You're not coming into downtown all the time. You're probably saving that for a special event. And so you might have heard about this new restaurant, but you never, you hadn't gone down to see it for a few months, right?
Yeah.
Until you were going to, a Drillers game or a soccer game or something downtown.
Yeah.
But they know. They all know.
I know. It's great. So you have been exposed to, so many people, but if you had to pick somebody that was like the most inspirational person for you or that has been very inspirational to you, a Tulsan, who would you choose?
Wow. The most inspirational Tulsan or non-Tulsan?
Well, let's say both.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So for the most inspirational Tulsan that I have met, I met her through the Press Club. Her name's Amanda Clinton. She is an amazing, amazing woman. She does PR and strategy. She's worked for the Cherokee Nation for a long time. She was also involved in the press. She worked for Channel 8, I know for sure. She probably worked at many other stations and did many other things that I can't remember right now, but she is the connector here in Tulsa. Like she's one of those types of people that will scoop you under her wing and say, come out here and meet this person. Through her, I met Kathy Taylor. I mean, it's, and various other people. I mean, she really is a very connected person, but besides that, she has a heart of gold, and she's just a wonderful human. Tulsa Remoters, man, I got a lot of them. I'm going to have to shout out them all, I suppose. But, and this will be a mutual friend of ours, Mark's pretty amazing. He's pretty amazing. He knows everybody. I tell you, he has never met a stranger. He's a really, really fantastic guy, and he opens his home to everybody. He's just a really great guy. And lastly, I'll name one more of my great Tulsa Remoters, Bree Seeley. Bree Seeley is pretty incredible. I actually volunteer through her nonprofit called Infinite HERizons, and we work with a lot of female entrepreneurs. And she really has given me a lot of opportunities to meet other entrepreneurs and women in business. And she's a connector of connectors too. And she's never met a stranger either. And I think she's just a phenomenal human.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that organization.
Sure. Bree founded this organization just a couple years ago, and she really saw a need for young women that were struggling, wanted to get maybe either out of the corporate structure because they felt undervalued, or just had a passion to start their own business and maybe didn't know where to start. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of funding, right, to get that going, or resources, or even understand where to start. And she's your gal. She's been doing it now. She's been an entrepreneur for 17 years, but she's been actually coaching other female entrepreneurs for 9. And as she is moving and growing and evolving in her business, she decided she wanted to give back. So she started this nonprofit where she's gathered resources and other women to be the support system and help new entrepreneurs start their journey. And she actually held the first Women's Wealth Conference last year. Called Success Becomes Me, which I actually opened that conference and got to speak on stage. It was really great, and it was just filled with very empowering women. It was one of those weekends that is unforgettable to be around. And the table that I was at, of course, I had some familiar faces there, but women from all over the United States had flown in for this. To hear their stories and to hear everyone's ambitions and get some actual advice on how to start your business and what to do, and legal advice and inspirational advice. I mean, it was all there. How to grow your wealth and what to do on social media. And I mean, it was jam-packed. And we're doing it again this year. Can't wait for this year. It will be actually at the Summit Club. So be looking for that this fall.
Okay. I can't wait for that. That's exciting. Well, good.
I think we've got most of our speakers lined up. So it's going to be a really, really, really great day.
Yeah, you've got me. I'm there.
Okay, awesome. Love it. Love it.
So is there anything else before we end that you want to add about Tulsa that we haven't touched on or?
Wow. It's just a great place. You know, there's so much beauty here. There's so much wonderful people here. And I'm looking, one of the other things that I didn't mention, I guess, is the film industry. I mean, the film industry is just booming, which is incredible. You know, working at the Press Club during a couple of very big films being made, I ran into some of the guys laying all the wires and stuff, and you know, hey, what movie are you setting up for? And they called it Gray Horse at the time, which really was the code word for Killers of the Flower Moon. So that was really interesting, and you know, those people have to stay somewhere in town. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know who you're going to run into in Tulsa these days. And so, yeah, I think seeing a lot of the film industry is pretty incredible. Seeing that come into Tulsa, and just, I mean, Tulsa is just booming in every direction. We're just like this big burst, and I can't wait to see where we go in the next 5-10 years. It's going to be incredible.
It really is. It's going to be incredible. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. I had such a great time. Thank you.
It was so good. I can't wait to do your Tulsa tour.
Yes.